Easy guys, Dom here from CDG. So in this video we're taking a look at the Saint challenge in the game Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. This is where you've got to get 50 survivors out of the mall, and for completing it you will get the cheat code master book. This will give you infinite ammo and infinite durability on your weapons, really handy for future playthroughs. However, this isn't as easy as it sounds, because not all survivors are going to be pointed out to you by Otis on the radio. There are going to be some that are hidden away, and we're going to cover off some of those in this video, and also a few other tips that you may be missing if you are struggling to complete this challenge. One thing you might find handy is the survivor's notebook. This will list all the survivors you've already located on previous playthroughs and could re-jog your memory of the dates and times that you located them. Not all survivors are going to be unlocked until you found them, obviously, and not all of these survivors are going to be called out on the radio, as I've mentioned. Some of them are hidden away and can only be found on very specific days and at specific times. We're going to cover some of them off in this video, such as Survivor 21, 67, 68 and 69, which could be the difference between you getting your 50 survivors or not. Survivor 21 is Bill, and he can be found in the closet, believe it or not, in the entrance plaza on the second floor. So once you enter this shop, quite early on in your run, you will find him in a storage area hiding behind a load of boxes. Now, he's not here for me right now because I missed him on this particular playthrough. However, you might not necessarily need him if you get the other three, which we're going to be talking about a little bit later on. But that's where he can be found if you want to grab him early on. So next up we're going to be talking about the twins, Pamela and Heather. You have only got a very short window to be able to rescue Pamela, and she is found here in the Paradise Plaza near the window of the toy shop. It's best if you can to try and have a queen on you. It's the quickest and easiest way to kill all the zombies that are around her, because when you usually come across Pamela, she's got very little health, depending on if you're lucky enough to catch when she actually spawns in. Then all you've got to do once you've got her is just to run into the toy shop here and grab her sister, who's hiding behind the counter. Now, another two survivors that aren't radioed through to you by Otis are going to be Sally and Nick, that can be found in the Wonderland Plaza area, hanging from the inflatable rabbit. You just have to kill the zombies around the outside and then knock them down with zombie hands, so just throw zombie hands at them. And now that leads us into Survivor 67, 68 and 69. These three can only be rescued at a very specific time, so you have to follow a very strict time frame to be able to do this. This will happen after you've rescued Isabella and you've got Kindle with you. Once you've got those guys back to the security room, you can then head straight to the theatre, the cinema, whatever you want to call it, to fight Sean, the cult leader. And once he's defeated, make sure you get Cheryl from the storage cupboard, because she can be another survivor that can be missed quite easily. Once you've done that, you've got to head over to the hunting gun shop. Make sure you've already defeated Cletus, the psycho, in there first, otherwise this won't work. That's very important. And then you're going to find Brett, Jonathan and Alyssa. You do have to run in and then run out of the store so they don't shoot you, and then once they start talking to you normally, you can have a conversation with them. You will have to go and photograph the hatch to the security room to prove to them that you've got a way out. But once you've done that, you can then pretty much go back to the Wonderland Plaza, defeat Paul. What you need to do here though is you do need to make sure that you keep Paul alive by putting the fire out with a fire extinguisher. Grab the two ladies from the storage room in the back of the shop, and then you can go straight away back to the security room with all of those survivors.
Breathing? Thanks, fearless leader.
One really important thing to note here is you probably don't want to progress the story past the last resort. Once you get Isabella back to the security room, you probably want to fail the story then at that point purposefully, so you're not losing specific survivors, such as Brad as an example, because they do count towards your total at the end by keeping them alive and in the security room. So yeah, fail purposefully there, but then continue the game. You can then go off and hoover up any remaining survivors such as Gil, Susan and Leroy. And because you've got Isabella at the security room now, you can get Simone. She's located usually late on in the game in the CD store in the Paradise Plaza. And because you've got Isabella there to be able to help Simone with her zombie bite, she will come back to the security room with you. And she was my last survivor. She was number 50 for me, who I needed. Now, you think at this point you're all good and you can just fast forward time to get the heli extraction, which you need to do obviously to be able to complete it. The thing is, if you're doing that, you're not going to get the radio calls to the survivors potentially having a mutiny happen, such as Kindle. If you don't speak to Kindle and tell him to wait for the helicopter because he's trying to leave, if you miss those, some of these survivors will just leave and they'll be shown as suddenly lost in your survivor list. There's also going to be a few other things, such as one of the survivors, Simone, asks for a gun. One of the other old guys asks for a bottle of wine. And you probably also need to speak to Paul as well to be able to get a Molotov off him, which is very handy. But ultimately, again, you need to do these interactions. And then last but not least, you'll probably have an interaction with Cheryl where she wants you to take some photos of her. Now, once you've done that, once you've got the last survivor request out the way, then you can advance time a little bit to be able to get to 12 PM on the 22nd to be able to use the chopper to extract. But that's pretty much it. And once you've done all those things, all those steps in place, you're good to go for the same challenge. Hopefully you found some tips in this video, and if you have, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on another video. Thanks for watching.